You clicked on this video because you want to know if the Freewell Magnetic VNDs work great on your camera. Would they work fine? Do they save you time? Does the magnetic function work? Is it just a gimmick, or is it actually something workable and usable? We'll find out in a little moment. Don't move.
All right, so this is the real deal. We're now outdoor and we're gonna be trying this new filter setup by Freewell. And we're gonna be doing some long exposure photography, which is something that I love to do, and today is no exception. I asked to have a 72mm filter thread so I can use it on my Fujinon 10 to 24mm f4. I'm going to be using an X-T3 body, so all the Fuji users out there, this is a video for you, most specifically. And let's see how they perform. I'm going to be testing the 2-5, 6-9 CPL, try to use them in combo a little bit to see what gives and what are the results, and see what are the pros and cons. Let's do it. The cap. This cap here that says Freewell is basically a see-through kind of cap. So it looks a little bit like a polarized see-through glass, which is really cool. It's a little detail. So all you have to do is plop it on when you have no other filters on, and it's basically a magnetic cap. That shouldn't, Jesus, there you go. Shouldn't come out very easily. So there you go, that's the first thing. All right, first things first, we got the base ND. This base VND basically has to be put on in order for this magnet system to work with the variable ND system. So what you do here, you align the drawing with the little picture, little drawing here, and plop, it goes on magnetically. There you go. So now you have the base, which is basically ND1, if you will. It's the base one. You can put the 2-5 stops VND. So very simple. You align the little A that you find around right here. There's an A. You align it to the A on the base, and there you go. You're gonna have hard stops. So at that point, you can see here, there's a little arrow that shows which ND you're on, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to see how that performs in the camera, if it actually goes down correctly, if it shows the exact stops that it says or not. Let's do it. So now we're at f9 for long exposure, ISO 200, and the shutter speed, I'm going to be the one controlling it. So right now I'm at 2, so ND2. There we go. So we're going to set it here, take a photo. There you go, so that was ND2. Then I'm gonna go to ND3 stops, and we can see here it went down by 1 stop, which is great, so that works fine. Take a photo. There you go. Now I'm gonna go to ND4. Let's see. It basically went down to almost 1 stop, so we're pretty correct right there too. Take a photo, and finally ND5, and it goes down a little bit more than 1 stop. So I believe if you can kind of tweak between 4 stops and 5 stops of ND, but it seems to do the job properly. And here we have 1 second. There, so you can see the results of each photo. So now we have a 6-9 variable ND filter. So I've set it to 0 here. I've set 2 seconds of timer, so my photos are not shaking in any way, shape, or form. There you go. Now I'm gonna turn it to 7. Oh, well, there you go. That's supposed to be 1 stop, almost a stop of light, so we're still pretty much in the range. There you go. So we're taking this photo. Here we're at 3 seconds. All right, now we're gonna go down to 8 stops. Once again, almost a stop of light. So there you go. This is a 5 seconds. And finally, we're gonna go to 9 stops. Once again, it goes down pretty much to 1 stop of light, so it's pretty correct. Here we're at 8 seconds. All right, here we go. Okay, one thing that I don't like about the polarizing filter though, is that it is on the flip side of the 2-5 stops VND filter, which means that you can't use it along with the 2-5 stops filter. That is a pity, because very often I use 2-5 stops to do long exposures, like today for example, and that is something you won't be able to use. So now I'm going to show you how the polarizer filter works, recording it straight from the X-T3. Let's go. All right, so if I turn my filter here, you can see on the water at the bottom here, that you can cut the reflections from this to this. You see? When I turn, it cuts all the reflections. And that is pretty neat. That's what a polarizing filter does. Finally, we have the ND32 plus CPL, which are in one unit, basically. So all you have to do, it's at the back of the 6 to 9 stops. You put it on, like so. And I'm gonna record this to show you a little bit how it looks. So if I turn now, you can see that the water has the reflections cut. That is great. I mean, it's an ND32, which is quite dark. You lose several stops of light here. So you can use CPL plus ND, but the only option you have really is the ND32, which is, to me, is very limiting if you want to take long exposure shots. All right, so this is my take on this VND magnetic system by Freewell. I think it is great. If you're someone that likes to shoot video or that uses this type of filters to shoot video, I think it's great. If you're someone that shoots long exposure or that needs to do this type of stills photography, I personally prefer my traditional system with square rectangle filters. I think it takes a little bit longer, but the results are more precise. I can do exactly what I want and I have zero limitations. So it is a little bit of, you know, you need to sacrifice a little bit on practicality, time and space, but in the end you can get better results for stills. So for photographers, I would go for a traditional system. For videographers though, this is fantastic. There, that's my take. See you in my next video. Take care. Cheers.